Yo, yo, yo! As you can see by the title of today's video, it's a content-based video, during the 3 days of no basketball that we have over these next few days. Thought I might as well jump on here and still speak my mind. I'm really just going to be going through every Eastern Conference team today and saying one positive that I think that they all hold going into this last 30 or so games of the season. So without further ado, the Celtics first. The Celtics is top five guys. They've been the best team all year when those five guys have been healthy. The only really concern with their health is Porzingis out of those five guys. For the course of their career, Tatum and Brown have been quite healthy guys, haven't really missed too much time. Jrue Holiday is getting older, so there is every chance that he could, get an injury somehow. But fingers crossed that we don't. We don't really prey on injuries over here. So if they can keep those top five guys healthy going into the playoffs and, making a deep run through the playoffs with these top five guys all healthy and trying to hold the one seed like they currently do. If they're able to hold the one seed and get the TD Garden home court advantage for the entirety of the playoffs, it will be very difficult for teams to beat them in a 7-game series, considering I think during this regular season to this date, they've only lost 3 or 4 games at the Garden, which is ridiculous. So if they're able to hold that, keep those top five guys healthy, there's every chance that they'll be able to win a championship. The Cavs, their positive is their recent form. I think they've won 17 out of their last 20 games or so. Donovan Mitchell's been able to hold it down while Darius Garland just came back. Jarrett Allen just came back. Evan Mobley's been in and out of the lineup. So they're a reasonably healthy team, and they've missed some of their top guys for majority of the year, and they're still the second seed. So if they're able to, hold themselves together, stay away from injuries going into the playoffs, hold this second seed like they have, and really ride this form that they've built for themselves on the back end before this All-Star break, they will be able to make a massive impact, I believe, on the playoffs and make a decent run. The Bucks have been, really rocky as of recent, but my one positive for them is Dame's form. Just won the 3-point contest and the All-Star MVP. So his form as of recently has been a lot better. He, coming into the Bucks, he was really trying to find his way, not being the number one option anymore. Was confusing for him, considering he's been doing it with Portland for over a decade. So for him to be behind Giannis now and not really be that first option anymore, he's found his way as the second option, and for him to find his way is really going to help, the transition of Doc Rivers and help all the other bench guys and guys that they work with on that roster. So his development's been crucial for them, and if he's able to stay in this form that he is at the moment, I can't see them not making a heavy impact on the playoffs. The Knicks, their trade deadline is their one big positive for me. They cleaned up shop with a lot of the guys that they didn't really use too much, like Evan Fournier and Quentin Grimes, and they brought in key players like OG Anunoby and Bogey and Alec Burks. Those guys are all really quality guys and can give you good real NBA minutes. So for them to really throw out all the stuff that they weren't really using and turn it into gold, in a word of say, it is huge for them. If they can keep that, if they can really build over this next 30 games and really blend that team together, I don't see a reason why they can't, make a second round, potentially maybe upset for an Eastern Conference Finals. It just all depends on their chemistry over this next 30 games and how they bring everyone together. Will be the massive question mark, but if they can figure it out, I believe it will be scary. The 76ers, their trade for Buddy Hield, they really needed a third scorer, and Buddy Hield will be that for the Sixers. I've said it time and time again all year. Their top 2 guys have been their massive carry for the whole year. Outside of their top 2 guys in Maxey and Embiid, they haven't really been able to produce a whole lot out of their bench and so on and so forth. So for Buddy Hield, over the 2-game sample size or whatever we got for games that he played for the 76ers, he was huge for them, putting up points and shooting the ball at a high clip like Buddy Hield has done throughout his whole career. So if he can continue to do that and really, build this team together while Embiid's still hurt. And when Embiid comes back, those top 3 guys, they'll be able to play off one another. And, 3 guys is better than 2. So for them to have 3 guys that can really positively impact the court now, and not just 2, will be game-changing for them. The Pacers, Tyrese Haliburton, he is their one positive. He's now their system, one of the youngest systems ever. He's, you saw the impact that he has on the city of Indiana at All-Star Weekend. He's just huge for them. He finds guys. He's one of the most valuable players in the league. He's nowhere near like winning an MVP because the numbers that he puts up aren't, ridiculous like Luka type numbers and so on. But he's one of the most valuable players in the league, because without him being at the Pacers success looks a lot different, I believe. He just needs to continue to build. He needs to stay healthy. I think they said over the break that he's, off his minutes restriction now. So he'll be able to play full games of basketball and really impact their roster. Building into this last 30 games, I don't see them making a lot of noise on the playoffs considering how young they are. But they're a bit of, an OKC sort of team where they're really good, during the regular season like they are. And they might be able to upset someone in a 7-game series, but only time will tell. Tyrese, he's their big positive, and he's not going to change, I don't think. The Heat really just their development of Jaime Jaquez, losing Gabe Vincent and Max Strus, who were huge for them in the playoffs last year. Really bringing in a guy through the draft that's had an immediate impact in his first year. I think he's top 3 in Rookie of the Year voting for the moment, and I believe he wasn't even a lottery pick. So they need to continue to develop him over this last 30 games. If they really want to make a push at the playoffs, he needs to be able to give them quality minutes. I know it's a lot to ask for someone in your first year, really just still trying to get your feet wet in the league. But he has shown to us that he can score the ball at a high clip. He is really just able to do everything you ask him. When you call his number, he's always there to help and assist. He just needs to really develop as a player, and who knows what sort of impact he will have on the playoffs, but if the Heat do want to have success, he needs to be able to give them quality minutes, which I believe he is capable of giving them. The Magic, we saw him at the All-Star game, Paolo Banchero. He's been their top dude for the whole season, outside of, like Franz Wagner. They've got quality players all through their roster, but none bigger than Paolo Banchero. The only thing I can see with Paolo is he really needs to develop that 3-point jump shot. We know he can shoot, and we have seen him be able to shoot it. But if he was to develop it to, even a 35% on 6 attempts or so, that would be huge for them. He's a beast inside. He's a plus defender. He kills people in the mid-range game. So if he was to develop that, he would become a way more complete player. But yeah, they're massive positive, the Magic this year. They have fallen. They were the 3 seed earlier in the year, but they're now the 8 seed. They have fallen a long way. But his development and just overall success in his second year has been great for them, and he won't change coming down the line. The Bulls, Kobe White's development has been massive. He's one of the top players in the most improved conversation for a reason. He's gone from like 11 points per game to 20 points per game. So he's taken an absolutely massive leap for them. They finally let him get quality minutes that aren't spur bench minutes that he has been getting his first few years of his career. As the Bulls sort of get older, they really need to start, building up their youth, and through Kobe White is the best way to do this. I do see Kobe White as being one of their top guys in their future, because guys like DeMar and Zach LaVine, they're not going to be there forever, expiring contracts and older. DeMar's still playing really well, and so is Zach, but, they're expiring contracts and they're both getting older. So they need to really buy into their younger guys like Kobe White. He's probably their top youngest guy on their roster, so they need to keep building into him. And yeah, he's really just put the league on notice, and if he can continue to ball out like he is, he will make a massive impact on the Bulls in the future. The Hawks had a really up and down year the whole year, like they do most years now. But Jalen Johnson, ever since he's come back from his injury, has been absolutely huge for them. Just instant impact as soon as he came back. He does literally everything. He's one of those Swiss Army knife type guys that literally does everything. He, rebounds the ball, he scores the ball, he passes the ball, he gets blocks, he's a plus defender. He literally just does everything for their organisation. As I said in a previous video, I haven't given up on Trae Young as a player yet. But I think Jalen Johnson will be huge to Trae Young's success as a player. If they can continue to build on him and build on Trae Young together, we don't really know what DeJounte Murray's future at the Hawks looks like, but he has been in some trade rumours. So these are really the top two guys I think that they really need to call untouchable and build on as an organisation, because Jalen Johnson will be a massive impact for them in a few years when he's finally developed. The Nets are a bit, shaky like the Hawks were, but one success I really see from them is Mikal Bridges. He's had, a quieter year compared to last year, but he's still putting up the numbers that they expect him to put up. 20 plus points most nights, all NBA defense. I don't see him missing out on an all NBA team again this year. He's just that Iron Man guy. I think he's played, like 300 straight games now. So he's going to continue to be available for them. He's, the least injury prone player in the league according to, his numbers for consecutive games played. He will continue to do that for them and to be one of the most important players on their roster, but at the same time be that available is huge for them. If they start to really build on him and hone in on him as a player, they will be a great team going into the next few years. But as for right now, I don't really see them making much noise, being the 11th seed. They've had a bit of a down year compared to last year. Sort of rebuilding and really modelling around him. So if they can continue to model around him, they will be a great team in the coming years. The Raptors has been Scotty Barnes. We saw him at All-Star game the other night as well. Although he was an injury replacement, he was more than deserving of it. He's really trying to fit himself into this new system after the Raptors really just cleaned up shop and got rid of all their top guys and brought in all these new guys. He really needs to connect with the whole team. And if they start to build chemistry as a team, I don't see a reason why they can't be like a borderline playoff team. They're great players, RJ Barrett and those sort of guys. They really need to, get together and really play together, because I feel like if they sort their chemistry out, they're young guys, they're hungry. I haven't given up on RJ Barrett as a player. He's shown that over this last 20 games or so that he's played with the Raptors, that he can be a top guy. But yeah, Scotty Barnes' development, given all this free time now with, Pascal gone, really opening up the floor for him. The sky's the limit for Scotty, and I believe he can carry a team to a playoff team. The Hornets is their draft decision in Brendan Miller. It was said on draft night over and over that Scoot Henderson potentially would have went number 2 and all the hype around that. But the Hornets ultimately in the end stuck to what they know and went with Brendan Miller, and it has paid off for them. Pre-injury and post-injury of Scoot Henderson, Brandon Miller has put up significantly better numbers. Scoot Henderson, yes, has started to look a little better over these last few games, but he still hasn't played nowhere to the caliber that Brandon Miller is playing. He will be a key to their success and their building as a franchise. They need to keep him around, balance his success. He has all the tools. He's got the defense, the three-point shot. He can even get in the mid-range and attack the basket when they need him to. He will be crucial to their success alongside LaMelo. So the building of that team, we don't know what it looks like over the next few years, but I feel like he will be a crucial part to that. The Wizards, there's not really a whole lot of positives for these next two teams, but the Wizards, their youth, they're one of the youngest teams in the league, and I think they should continue to build through that youth. Jordan Poole, hasn't been everything that they expected him to be coming over from Golden State. Everyone had high hopes for him, expecting him to be that guy and so on. But he's still young. He's still got time to prove people wrong over these next few years when he actually gets into the system, provided he's kept around. There has been trade talks around him, but just keeping that youth. Him, Kuzma, they're the oldest players on the roster. So if they can keep those guys who are still significantly young, plus these younger guys, and really build through the draft as well, I don't see a reason why they can't turn into a Oklahoma City type of team in a few years. Last team, not a ton of positives. The Pistons, 8 wins going into the All-Star break is probably one of the worst times ever. 28 straight losses earlier in the year, tying the all-time record for losses in consecutive games. There isn't really much positives, but the one thing I can say is really use this draft pick and build through the draft. Pistons fans, you guys are going through it right now. You just need to build through this draft capital over the next few years. Asur Thompson's looked reasonably good for you guys. Cade Cunningham, Jaden Ivey. You have the pieces. You're just unable to win games at this point. You just need to continue to build through the draft, continue to get young, talented guys, which I don't see why you can't, and really just build on that. But that's it. That's all 15 Eastern Conference teams. That's all I really wanted to say today. I was going to do all 30 NBA teams, but I thought I may as well split it up in a conference. Otherwise, it'll be a really long video. This one already being a reasonably long video. But I hope you guys enjoyed this sort of content. I really wanted to just get on here and speak my mind about all these teams. Some with different positives compared to the others, but every team's building for a different reason, finding their success in their own ways, and really finding their impact and where it works. Liking and subscribing would be a massive help. I'd be much appreciated. Maybe even dropping a comment to anyone watching. Let me know who you are, and because I appreciate you guys. I can't really build this without you guys. So if you can let me know who you are, that'd be great. But yeah, as I said, I'll get to you guys with the Western Conference tomorrow. And before then, stay safe, look after yourselves. Peace.